Friends, welcome to youtube.com Dr. Vet channel. We have proceeded for the new section on differential diagnosis for veterinary practitioners. I have already posted the video on vomiting in dog part 1. Here we will see part 2. In this part 2, we will see the clinical findings, diagnosis and clinical examination of vomiting in dog. Clinical finding of vomiting in dog. Generally, clinicians are not observing the action of vomiting because owner presenting the problem of vomiting and based on history, the clinicians are treating. But if clinicians observe the vomiting action very minutely, here I have described the series of events that occur more or less in a following sequence. You will enjoy this sequence. So, how action is played in different sections. First, there is a little bit excitation or anxiety and sometimes depression. There is rapid breathing before vomiting, followed by increased salivation, hypersalivation. Then there is repeated swallowing action by the dog. Then there is relaxation of gastroesophageal sphincter, the sphincter between stomach and esophagus. Then there is spasmodic contraction of muscles of respiration and animal exhibit the symptoms of retching. Frequent retching is observed. Then contraction of gastric antrum part and proximal part of the small intestine. Then there is gastroesophageal reflex of food. The food enters into the esophageal entrance. Next action is esophageal and pharyngoesophageal sphincter motility is repressed so that food should not enter into the nasal cavity. There is elevation of soft palate and closure of nasopharynx to prevent entry of food into the nasal cavity called the nasal regurgitation is prevented. Then there is forceful contraction of abdominal muscles and simultaneously diaphragm against the closed glottis, and this increases the intra-abdominal pressure. This results a forceful expulsion of the stomach content, that is food, fluid or debris, into the pharynx and thrown out through mouth, and that we call it as a vomiting. So when you happen to see a case of vomiting, please observe it minutely. This action is very important as a clinician. We have observed the vomiting, or we have got the history on vomiting, a complaint of vomiting from either owner or attendant. But along with vomiting, we must observe the symptoms of vomiting consequences. Vomit is simple thing. It is a vomiting. But for us as a clinician, the consequences of vomiting is also important. The vomiting also causes loss of water, dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, loss of potassium and chloride deficit, and that leads to alkalosis in body because loss of the acid, and acid base imbalance. There is loss of chloride ion, means acid is lost. So body will become alkaline. At the same time, the vomiting is not a disease. It is the one of the symptoms of many diseases. Of mostly primary is the symptoms of gastrointestinal tract. In most of the cases, the vomiting is caused by a primarily the disease of gastrointestinal tract, and vomiting is also observed by secondary disease. Clinician observe the vomiting, consequences of vomiting. At the same time, the symptoms are also exhibited of the underlying causes or diseases, mostly disorder of gastrointestinal tract, disorders of the nervous system, disorders of the liver dysfunction, and disorder of the renal disease are also observed. We are not displaying here all the symptoms because it is beyond the scope of this video. Otherwise, video become very large. We are concentrating our attention towards vomiting also. The consequences of primary and secondary diseases will be discussed in future in my videos. You are requested to observe that. Coming to the diagnosis part, we have seen a big list of extensive causes and variety of historical factors for vomiting. To discuss each and every etiology, it is a wastage of time. But most common etiology that is commonly presented at the clinics will be discussed, not in very much detail, somewhat detail, and that etiology detail will be presented in subsequent videos. You are requested to wait for that. Now, in this diagnosis, history is very important because when the animal is presented at the clinics, mostly it may not show the symptom of vomiting. So, our diagnosis is mostly based on history. So, history must be very much accurate, and that solves our most of the problem of diagnosis. If clinician is expert in taking history, he will diagnose the disease very easily. Most of the vomiting is caused by primary causes in gastrointestinal tract and sometimes by secondary causes the disease at some other causes than the GIT. Other type of history very important is history on diet. The clinician should ask the history on quality, quantity, and time of feeding, changes in dietary or environmental circumstances is the another group of etiology for the vomiting. Clinicians required to ask the history regarding the frequency of vomiting, whether the vomiting is transient, temporary, and of short duration, or a persistent or a long duration, whether it is static one, few hazards only, or few episodes only, or it is progressively increasing in severity. The frequency and the time of day occurrence is also important history. Whether the vomiting is observed in morning, noon, or evening or night time. For the etiological diagnosis, the character of vomitus is also very much important. We will not observe this character of vomitus. We have to rely purely on the history from the owner. To judge the seriousness of the disease, take history whether vomiting is acute or chronic. Another important part, vomiting relation with intake of food. Whether food or eating is related to vomiting or not. Sometimes the intake of food has no relation to vomiting, and sometimes the animal vomits immediately after taking food. The acute gastritis and chronic gastritis are two important diseases that are frequently manifested by vomiting, and they are the major causes of vomiting. In acute gastritis, generally vomiting has no relation with intake of food, because here the vomition occurs by irritation into the stomach. So whether animal takes food or not, it has less relation. The vomitus contain undigested, decomposed food. There may be hematemesis or may not be. If there is severe case, there will be blood into the vomitus. The vomitus become red, and sometime if it is digested, it become black. The green color vomitus suggests Pseudomonas bacterial infection. If the vomitus is yellowish green, it suggests the presence of bile. That means vomitus has come from the duodenum. If there is presence of blood, vomitus looks red. If vomitus is grayish, it suggests plenty of mucus secretion. So by this way, we can diagnose acute gastritis and treat accordingly. In chronic gastritis, vomiting generally occur after intake of food. The vomitus contain plenty of mucus, so it become a very viscous. Vomitus emits a rancid odor or a fetid odor. The hematemesis means blood into the vomitus that suggests severe gastritis or neoplasm or ulcer into the stomach. We have to take history whether the vomitus is true vomiting, that means what actions I have narrated previously, or it is a false or projectile vomiting, because sometimes owner can't differentiate. A clinician has to ask questions. Generally, overeating, full stomach with gas or with food, if there is gastric dilatation, then all of a sudden it projects out the food without any efforts. Clinicians require to differentiate from regurgitation or dysphagia by taking accurate history from the owner. Dear friends, history is very, very important, because when the animal is presented, there will not be any vomiting. So we have to rely mostly on the information of the owner. Now, clinician has to actually examine the animal. Clinician examine the general condition of patient. For example, attitude, whether the animal is active or not, about appetite, about general appearance of the animal, and conditions occur between the various bouts of vomiting. Clinician palpate the epigastric and gastric area for the diagnosis of gastric disease. This is the most contributed etiology, the disease of stomach, especially gastritis. Auscultation of thoracic and gastric area for motility and for thoracic hernia or diaphragmatic hernia can be diagnosed with this. Clinician examine vomitus, whether vomitus contain a complete digested food or there is indigestion particles are there. pH of vomitus generally provide diagnosis regarding the origin of irritation, and generally when the vomitus is originated from stomach, it is acidic. The color already we have discussed, consistency discussed, odor, presence of parasites, gross parasites may be observed in Spirocerca lupi, presence of other foreign material, because sometimes the few animals have a habit of pica, eating abnormal substances other than food. Technically, it is called as allotriophagia. Some dogs has a habit of grass eating. That also we have already discussed in part 1. Some of the cases require blood examination to note the hydration status, to check the dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, pH. Generally, vomiting cases are alkalosis, presence of blood urea nitrogen in blood, hemogram that suggests anemia or hemorrhage, presence of jaundice indicate hepatitis, total protein tells us about the pathology in the body. Few cases require fecal examination also. Examination of fecal smear, weight amount for motile organism or protozoa. Sometimes feces contain occult blood. The feces looks normal, but there may be blood inside. If minor blood is there, then it can be examined under microscope by benzene test, occult blood test. The color of the feces, if there is melena, a black feces, indicate hemorrhage in the upper GIT. Assay of alpha antiprotease level for protein losing enteropathies. These tests are generally not required. An experienced clinician can diagnose the vomiting and its causes very easily. But only few cases require further details such as urine analysis, primary or secondary gastrointestinal differential diagnosis can be achieved by radiology of gastrointestinal tract, either brain radiology or contrast X-ray. Very few cases require fluoroscopy to examine motility of the gastrointestinal tract. Latest technology is available, fiber optic gastroscopy. Clinician can examine the mucosa directly. Presence of ulcers, neoplasm, or foreign body can be seen on PC. Non-invasive imaging, abdominal ultrasonography, and abdominal CT or MRI also helps in diagnosis. Exploratory laparotomy gives a prompt diagnosis and helps us in accurate therapy. Clinicians should have a minimum database, complete blood count, biochemical profile, urine analysis, and fecal examination. Dear friend, there is very big list of etiology. To tell about each and every etiology is not possible here beyond the scope of this video, but it will be discussed in subsequent videos. I think this video will be very much helpful to you. I will come with treatment aspect of vomiting in part 3 next time. Requested to share to our professional brothers. Requested to press like button. You have given overwhelming response by subscribing this video. Thank you very much for subscribing and for observing this video.